Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner coming to you for the DeKalb County Library System. And it's Older Americans Month. And every year I try to do something that I think would appeal to our older Americans. So this time I thought I would do something. I have these really neat little shard shells. Let's see if I can pull one here. They're tiny, tiny little things, and maybe a half an inch long. And I saw something on YouTube about how, well, several things on YouTube about how you can make shards independent. These are so tiny. Usually they're showing you how to use crystals, and they're maybe an inch long or something like that. But I also wanted something that would appeal to this tiny little guy right here. And I looked at a couple of videos. Katie Parker, I think her name is, and she had a really, really neat one that I'm going to kind of adapt to wrap these little shards so that you can take this and you can just put it on a little chain and just have a nice little necklace that you can wear with anything. That's the first one. Then I'm going to do a second one. We're going to wrap another crystal that's a bit bigger. Isn't that beautiful? It's amethyst. And I have had these just waiting to be used for a while, and I have just enough for the tutorials. They are so gorgeous, and I cannot wait to dole them out for you to wrap. So we're going to do that today. It's going to be a very minimalist project. You can use any crystal shards that you have that you don't know what to do with, because let's face, I have a whole bag of these. And I thought, what am I going to do with those? They're not drilled. They're just these pretty I think it's mother of pearl, some kind of shell shards that I didn't know what to do with. And I'm so glad I kept them, because then I saw that tutorial and it was perfect. Then I acquired these crystals, just fell absolutely in love with them, and had just enough that I could do the tutorials and give them out in kits. And this is something that's adaptable for men and women. So it's with Older Americans Month right here, I thought that this would be a great time to do something for both. So all you need is any kind of raw crystal or shard crystal or stone, raw stone that you want to use for this. It's going to take one piece of wire. I'm using 22 gauge. You're going to use your usual tools, your round nose pliers. The barrels are rounded all the way around. My pliers are all over the place. Where are they? Where the cutters are our cutters, which we use to cut our wire. And goodness, where they're there. Nope, those are round nose. There they everywhere. And my square nose pliers. And they're slightly rounded on the outside, but flat on the inside. Now, when you go to buy these or order them online, make sure they don't have those grips or ridges in the center, because that'll just chew up your wire, and you don't want that. So 22 gauge wire, our usual tools, a ruler for measuring. Let's get to it. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to do is wrap this pretty little shard. Let's get it up there where we can see it. There, a little bit of glare here. Oh, glare coming from. Anyway, there it is. There's our little shard. And what I need for that is about 12 inches of wire. Measure that out. Okay. Set it off to the side here. And the first thing that I'm going to do is make a little spiral. So I'm going to grab the tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers, and I'm going to make a small loop, just a little loop. Get in there. There we go. I was going to say, what is going on with all that wire? Let's get out of my way. Okay, so we're just going to make it start with a small loop and then continue wrapping the wire around itself. Just one wire beside the other. And then when I can't go any further with my round nose pliers because I'm coming to the double part, I'm going to switch to my square pliers and I'm just going to continue the spiral. Now the spiral does not need to be too big, just enough for the shard to fit inside because we're creating a little basket for one end of my little shard. So I'm just going to give myself about 3 rotations. That should be plenty. These aren't very, very wide on the bottom. So there's my little tip, 1, 2, and 3. Rotate. When I say rotations, I mean 3 complete rotations with the wire. So let's just check this out. You want to decide which side you want to be the top and which side you want to be the bottom. And because these are all shaped differently, they're all different. They're no two alike because they're completely natural. You're just going to need to decide this one has a little curve in it. It's just, that's what makes them beautiful. Anyway, so what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and fit my bottom part onto my little spiral. Make sure that it looks like it'll fit inside, and it does. So then I'm going to take my round nose pliers right here to the center. Get out of my way here. Right in the center loop. And I'm going to spread the wires out just a little bit, very carefully. Just push those wires down until they spread just a bit so I can create a little basket. So what I'm doing is just pulling the wires apart. And so now I have a little basket. So let's check and see if that'll fit. Yes, it does. Just sits right down in there. Very nice. I might give it one more little wrap. Give it one more little wrap around so that my basket will be just a little bit deeper. Over there. Okay. That up just a little. All right. Okay, so that's good. Then I'm going to push those little rings. My wire's just like all over the place. It's like I don't have nowhere to go, so I'm just gonna bother you. So I'm gonna push those little rings up around my little shard. I think that's good. This is not a hard thing. It is a little fidgety until you get everything settled inside the wire. So there's my little basket. So what I'm going to do now is hold on to everything. A little bit more. Hold on to everything and just wrap this wire around the shard a couple of times. And again, these are about maybe half an inch, is the smallest one, or probably the most of them are about half an inch, maybe 5/8 of an inch at the most. So you're not going to need to do too many wraps. So I just need to get a hold on that and then wrap the wire around the shard. See, it's wiggling and it's going to wiggle. So just hold on to it, wrap the wire around once or twice. Doesn't need to be that many. Settle that in there a little bit better. Put that up a little bit more. There we go. There. I'm going to wrap that around one more time. Just like that. And then when now it's not going anywhere. Oh, where am I? It's not going anywhere. It's nicely conformed to my wire. So now I'm going to, let me bring this down because I'm getting a lot of glare. My goodness. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is bring the wire up right in the middle of my shard here at the top. Just bring it up like so. So that's what I have. See something. No, that doesn't do it. Trying to see what can cut down on the glare that I'm seeing, and it may not be translating to you. Okay, there are my wraps, and my wire is coming straight up in the middle of my little shard here. So now what I'm going to do is create a loop at the top here for my veil. So I'm going to go about 1/8 of an inch away from the top of my shard, and you can just eyeball that. It's just not that much of a stem that you want here, just enough to wrap a couple of times around with your wire. So I'm going to bend my wire to the side, just hold on to the top of that, bend my wire to the side like so, grab my round nose pliers, and I'm going to go about halfway down. I did somewhere I made bigger veils, but this is so tiny that it doesn't need to be too big. Over there. So I'm going to slide my pliers down about, let's see, slide my wire down about halfway down my pliers. That'll be a big enough loop. To get everything adjusted. And then I'm going to bring the wire over the top of my pliers and down the side and behind my shard until I can't go any further. I don't want to go over both barrels, just over the one. Okay, and then I'm going to hold on to everything, open my pliers, reposition it, and then bring the wire all the way around until I have a nice circle here. And then I'm going to, and you can see where I have that little tiny space right there in between the top of my bead and the bottom of my loop. So I'm going to grab my square pliers and hold on to my loop right here above where this tail is sticking out. And then I'm going to wrap the wire around the stem just a couple of times until I get to the top of my shard. And then I want to capture the shard in the wrap. So I'm going to hold on to it and just bring that down and around, nice and easy around that shard. And balance it on your finger. And if you want to get rid of the pliers at this point to hold on to it, you can do that. Let's wrap that around. Once, twice. Hold it with the pliers so you can see what I'm doing. And just as many times as you need to enclose that nicely. We're just securing the shard. Get them as close together as you can without overlapping. So that the top looks sort of like the bottom. You have a little spiral wrap on the top and one on the bottom. Okay. And then once you've wrapped that as many times as you want up here, I'm going to bring this wire up, back up to the top. Fix this a little bit, nice and neat. And it's not going to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfection in this one because each one of these is different and the shards are not made perfectly straight or perfectly round or anything like that. So it's going to be a very organic look. So now I'm going to bring that wire up, back up, just make a nice little curve back up towards the bail. And you want to hold on to this while you do so you don't pull anything out of shape. Just bring that back up. And I'm going to wrap around the top. That's why you could just ignore this little gap at the beginning, because I'm going to now wrap this around where that little gap is. Just hold on to that, wrap that around, and just fill it in. And because it's so tiny, it's a little fidgety, but I have every faith that you can master it. Goes around there. Squeeze it with my fingers. If you need to, use your pliers. And it's just what we call a messy wrap at the top. And I could have stopped wrapping any minute, any time back there, but I don't want to waste the wire. So I'm going to continue to wrap until I have a great big wrap here at the top, which is kind of crazy, but it's what I'm doing. I'm going to cinch this in a little bit. Good. I'm going to cut this little tail off. I think I've wrapped enough. And push down the tip in between the other many wraps that I have here. And I keep pulling on it to make sure everything's secure. Yes. And there it is. There's my little wrap. Let me push this down a little bit. There's my little wrap. You can put that on a little chain and you're good to go. This little part's popping up. Just take a little time to make it look the way you want it to look. Go. There it is. There's my little shard wrap. And I've done several of these. And they all come out, they all look different. They all look different when I'm finished, which is what I just absolutely love. This one I had a whole bunch of wire left, so I scarfed up my loop. But aren't those neat? It's just neat. You can put it on a little chain. If I had a chain down here, I'd hang it from it so you could see. But you can put these little guys on a little chain and wear them pretty much with anything, I think. I don't see why you couldn't. I think I've got them upside down. In review, if I'm not mistaken. Aren't those neat? Anyway, that's our first one. Those are our little shards. The next one is going to be this lovely, lovely, lovely crystal. This nice raw crystal that we've got here. It's not showing up as purple, it's showing up as blue, but this beautiful raw crystal that we're going to wrap. So for that, I again need 12 inches of wire. Okay. And I'm going to grab my round nose pliers right here in the center of my wire. Let's find your middle. I'm going to go back about 3/4 of the way back to the back of my pliers, and I'm going to make a loop. Now I like to just cross them over. I'll cross one over the other, like so. And I'm going to double this loop. So I'm going to take that back out. There's my loop. Slide it back in with the pliers on, with the crossed over part between my pliers. And then I'm going to cross them over again. Just wrap them around until they are once again crossed. Just like that. And then once I have my double loop, I'm going to hold on to both of the wires. I'm going to hold on to my loop and both of my wires. I'm going to twist it a couple of times. Just give it that good old electrician's twist, meaning you're twisting both at the same time so that one is not wrapping around the other. So about 4 twists. My middle loop is listing off to the side, so I'm going to correct that. Just pull it back until it's straight up and down, right on top of my little twist. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Now I'm going to grab my beautiful crystal and I'm going to rest the twisted part in the back of my crystal, just like that. So then I'm going to bring one wire around to the front and the other wire up from the bottom. I've seen people do this on the side, which is fine because there's enough little craggy parts on here that it should be able to grip it okay. But I think it's a little more secure if I have it top to bottom. I feel like it's a little more secure of a wrap. So there my wires are crossed over. And now I want to create a little spiral. So I'm going to bring one wire up and wrap the other wire around it. And I know it's hard to see what I'm doing because I have to hold my fingers over it so the wires don't shift. And that makes it hard to see. That's why I'm talking you through it. So I'm going to wrap the one wire around the other one, like so. And then I'm going to follow it with the other wire. Okay, like so. Then I'm going to wrap the other one again. And follow it with the other wire. And I'm just wrapping it around the wires around themselves to form this little spiral in the center. And keep going. Just a few more wraps and check it out and see what I got. Yes, there's a little spiral. And I can either keep going or stop here. Make sure my wire's in place the way it should be. You can put your little spiral in the center. You can have it on the side. I've done both. They're both pretty. There's my little spiral. I'm going to turn this down. This looks like it's upside down. Okay, let's do that. And hold on a second. I'm going to shift this. So now you see what I see. So there's my little spiral in the center. So now what do I do with the rest of all of this wire? Because it's not quite secure yet until I wrap it around the top here. But I've got a little bit of a basket formed. They're doing the lawn right now and it's noisy. I hope you can't hear it. So I've got a little bit of wire left. So I can go ahead and stop and wrap this around and be finished. But with all of this wire, it just seems crazy not to use some of it. So I think what I'm going to do is give myself just a little bit of a curve. So what I'm going to do, my wire is going out here to the right, actually left because I switched my camera around, and I'm going to bring it back to the right, both of the wires, and give it just a little bit of a curve, just like that. So now I have a spiral and a curve. And then I'm going to bring it up and wrap it around my loop here at the top. Straighten it out, make sure it's sitting the way I want it. Kind of scoot it over a little bit. Hold on to that. Bring it around my veil. And wrap it. There we go. Just wrap that up. Still a little loose. We'll fix it. Tighten it up a bit. And because I have this big opening on the side here, I'm going to bring this around just to secure it a little bit more. And I'm going to wrap this one long one around my little spiral. Come on, work with me here. So this longer one, I'm just going to bring it around my spiral just for security's sake. There. So now everything's kind of locked in. And this shorter one, I'm going to bring it around. And make another tiny little spiral up here. I think I have enough. Use my pliers for that. Wrap that around. Let that follow. I just need a tiny little spiral just to hold everything in place. You can tell I'm winging it. And that's what we do with wire wrapping. Okay, bring that around. It's kind of awesome. I didn't get a chance to do this with the others. I didn't have this much wire left. Every single one is different. And every single one, I'm going to push this down so that it doesn't, that tip doesn't stick right out. Every single one of them is a different size. So you'll have the opportunity to make it your own. There's no two that are going to be alike. So I've got a little spiral and a big spiral. There we go. Isn't that cute? And if you're not sure, this is pretty secure. But if you have spaces or whatever in there, you can twist it. I'm just testing to make sure everything's in place. You can twist your wire to tighten it. And the way I do that is to either grab your round nose pliers or your square pliers, either one, and hold onto your wires and just give it a little tweak. So let me see if I can show you that real easily here. So I'm just going to give it a sharp bend like that, just to tighten it up. So I got that little tweak on the back. Do I want to do another one? It doesn't need it. It's completely in there. Give it the shape test, which is excellent. Yeah, nothing's moving. Excellent. So there is my hyacinth. Isn't that neat? Put that little baby on a chain and you are ready to roll. I have done so many of these. So many. I'm so greedy. But I just have fun doing these. And so I'm going to have to take a couple of them apart so I can give them to you. But this, isn't that neat? Put them on a little cord or a chain and off you go. Then we have our little shards. And you can wear these things with absolutely anything. Straighten up here. Isn't that neat? That's it. That's today's tutorial. Just a neat way that you can take, I mean, we're coming up on spring and summer and people are picking up really pretty rocks that they find, little raw stones that they find, and they don't know what to do with them, but they want to keep them. It's some kind of a memento. And now you can just wrap them. I do something like this at least once or twice a year, just to show you how you can take some found items and make them into a pretty piece of jewelry. And it's one of the most fun things I do. And I really enjoy it because, like I said, no two are alike. They all come out different and they all come out, in my opinion, as something very special. So I hope you will do this and I hope you enjoyed this. I have to pick which one of these I want and then give the others away. But I hope you enjoyed this and I hope that you will do this because this is a lot of fun. You have to concentrate on it because they're so small that you have to watch what you're doing. but it's not a perfection thing. None of these are perfect. There's no such thing. This is art. And so you need to look at it like that. And I'll tell you right now, the more freeform things that I wear, those are the things that get the most attention. Everything that looks like it came off of an assembly line. It's pretty, but there's no character. But these are awesome. They have an abundance of character. They're very artistic and they are yours. They are what you make it. So each one of you is going to have a yard of wire so that you can kind of play. They each take about 12 inches and you'll have an additional 12 inches so that you can play around and decide how you want your item to look, how you want your pendant to look. So you will have the shard, the raw stone, and the wire. And then you can just go to town. I couldn't resist. Here they are. Yeah, I could have gone ahead and put it on a little display, but I just couldn't. So there's my little shard. There's my raw crystal. Yay. And of course I have all of these additional ones that I'm going to have to give away. But there it is. Takes a few minutes. What, 15 minutes to wrap each of these? You can do a bunch of these and give them as gifts. Rocks, stones, all raw. They can be tumbled, they can not be tumbled. It's entirely up to you. Once you know how to wire wrap, you can pretty much do anything you want. The world is your oyster. Fun. Anyway, that's it. That's our tutorial for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know one way or the other. You can get in contact with me at jewelrygin20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20@gmail.com. You can access the library YouTube page and leave comments. That's youtube.com/DeKalb County Public Library. That's spelled DAKALB County Public Library. Or you can leave comments and pictures on the library. I bumped my head and I see a knot on it. Anyway, you can leave comments and pictures at the library Facebook page, which is facebook.com/DeKalb Library, spelled DAKALB LIBRARY. I hope you'll leave pictures because I love to see them. And something like this, each and every one of them is different and unique. And I just love to see what you do. So that's my little clock telling me wrap it up. That's it for today. Please let me know what you think, what you thought, good and bad. I love constructive criticism so that I can hopefully get better. But until next time, have a great week. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.